Hey guys, welcome back for another video. This video we're going to talk about hiring. I'm Jerry Aliberti, owner of Pro-Accel. I've personally worked for companies ranging from $100 million a year to $1 billion a year. I now work with companies from startup to about $100 million a year. And I can very confidently say every single contractor from startup to multiple billions of dollars a year all have issues at some point or all the time with hiring. So in this video, we're going to talk about 5 topics and 5 key points you must understand to hire the right help. Starting with the first, know the role. A lot of contractors I speak to don't even know what kind of responsibilities that particular role needs and requires. A lot of contractors are multi-generational companies. The kids were brought up in one particular company and they just never worked for other companies. They don't really understand the roles of each and every single person and within their own organization. There's a lot of business owners who became business owners really early on in their careers, and they kind of just forgot how it was to be a salary person and really don't understand the day-to-day operations of that particular role. So it's really important to either get professional help or to do your due diligence and within your company to really understand the role and the responsibilities of the person you need to hire, especially if you're introducing a new role within the company. So the next is skills. This is self-explanatory, right? You need to have the right skills for the right particular project. If you're an estimator, you need to be an analytical person, you need to be data-driven, you need to really have the patience to sit down and read many pages of plans and specs. You need to have that visionary perspective type of mindset to really put together a good bid. And of course, you got to know your numbers, right? So you really got to understand how to break down crews, and it's all got to make sense. You got to have ways to double check your numbers as well. If you're a project manager, you're out in the field all day long. You're working probably a lot of hours, just as the office does, but you're leading a lot more people. You're working with a lot more people. You got to be more of a you got to have really good skills in scheduling as well. You got to really be able to see several months out what needs to be done. You need to know how to prioritize yourself as well. So there's critical skills that go with each and every single role that requires certain responsibilities that must be kept every single day to do a great job. The third is personality and emotions. Nobody talks about this, and I'm not sure why, but emotions is very important in construction. This is a very difficult path to take in your career. Construction it requires a tremendous amount of thinking, a lot of decision making, a lot of problem solving. Requires a lot of leadership because there's just a lot of people that are working in and around the company, a project, an organization. I remember when I was out in the field and I just started to run jobs, I would go home every single day. My hands were shaking, my eyes were twitching. I was getting 70, 80, 90 phone calls a day, and I counted them. I was getting 30, 40, 50 emails that all required my attention. And there's just so many hours in a day that I could have possibly of thought all this stuff out. And I always considered myself a great planner. I was always told I was a great planner as well. And it's just the nature of the beast. It's just the nature of the business that we're in. Also the companies need to provide the right resources to help a project manager or a super as well. So you got to understand the personality and the emotional aspect of each of the roles and the responsibilities as well. If you're an estimator, you're going to be juggling multiple jobs at any given time. You're going to be thrown $10 million jobs that need to be bidden within a couple of days. Your boss doesn't want to hear that you don't have the time. They can care less about that. Unfortunately, they can care less about that. So you need to really understand the personality of the person you're hiring, and you need to ask the right questions to kind of tap into their emotions and see if it goes hand in hand with the role that you want to put them in. The next is review resume only by the person leading them. I hate when billion-dollar-a-year companies have people in HR that have no idea about construction, vetting, and cherry picking who goes into what role and responsibility. That is a terrible idea. Terrible idea. If you're hiring an estimator, the chief estimator should be vetting should be going through all the resumes and vetting who they actually want to interview. All right. If you're hiring a project manager, the project executive, or possibly the owner should be going through all the resumes and should be handpicking who they want to interview. Not HR. HR should only be involved in onboarding, signing up that person, for benefits and all that good stuff and whatever your onboarding process is. But, if you're a small company, obviously it's going to be the owner, right? So the owner should probably all be involved. But as the company gets a lot bigger, 100, 200, 300 million, the ownership kind of steps away. The only reason why companies even get that big is because the owners learn how to step out of their business. You'll never be able to scale your company if you don't know how to step out of your business. So this is probably more for ownership and then whoever your senior leadership would interview in smaller companies. And then in larger companies, it should be the project executives for project managers, or the project manager, the project executive should be involved with the assistant project manager. So you get the point. Last but not least, test their knowledge. If you're testing somebody in the entry level, which I would say is about 0 to 5 years, you're really just testing to see if they're ambitious, if they're excited about their career. You're trying to get like a little bit of a take of or an understanding of where they want to go in their career. Are they very introverted, where maybe they want to just be a scheduler or stay in the back office as a field engineer, or maybe stay in estimating? Are they extroverted, or are they willing to lead 10, 20, 30, 50 people? Do they want to be the project manager, right? So in the entry level, it's just a matter of figuring out what their ambitions are. Do they align with the values of your company? Hopefully you know what your values of your company are. Understanding the goals of your company, and are they aligned, and are they going to help contribute to your goals? So you get the point. The next is experienced, 5+ years. This is probably more of a 10+ years if you're a much larger contractor. I was personally tested on my last salary job, and I loved it. I was able to actually negotiate more money. And you know what? The contractor was happy to see that I knew what I was talking about. So what do I mean by testing, right? Let's say you're hiring for an estimator. You're a concrete contractor, right? Lay out a simple job for them. Tell them what the logistics are. Tell them what the means of egress are. Tell them what the hours are. It's a 10-foot high wall, double-sided wall. You're going 100 feet. Ask them, what kind of crew size would you have? What kind of productions would you have? What kind of equipment do you need? How are you going to pour that wall? And let them run through what their logic is to put together that estimate. And then also talk to them, what kind of risks do you see happening? Now, if you're hiring for a project manager, maybe ask them how they would approach a change order, how they would lead their people every single day throughout the week. Maybe you can bring up a situation that you recently had on a project and ask them, how would you handle that situation? How would you handle that problem? Now, you got to be a little lenient as well, because they don't really understand your company as well. Good companies and companies that know to grow and scale their company requires process. So eventually, how they handle, for example, a change order, you should be handing them a process, because they're going to be taking what they did in previous companies, which is only going to contribute to chaos and within the company. So guys, that's what I got for you on this video. Know the role, know the exact skills that are required for that role, know the personality and the emotions that are required to be great at that role. Review the resume only by the person leading them. Don't leave it to HR, who knows nothing about construction. and test their knowledge. Again, I'm Jerry Aliberti, owner of Pro-Accel. I help companies figure all this out. If you like this video, I encourage you to like the video. I would love to hear your comments and subscribe. Thanks.